What is the campus climate like regarding? Good afternoon, Orange County, and welcome to Chapman News. I'm Brianna Greenup.
And I'm Alana Williams. Thanks for tuning in.
Starting tonight, the county will begin limiting access to 10 miles of the Santa Ana River Trail to the public. Homeless citizens living in tents along the riverbed will be issued citations as plans to permanently close the west side of the trail. Use of the trail from Adams Avenue to Imperial Highway will be limited to daylight hours and will be closed to the public between 6 p.m. and 7 a.m. The regulations have come about as a result of safety issues and sanitation concerns. Orange County Supervisor Todd Spitzer said the plan is a progressive next step that is being taken to ensure the safety of citizens.
The suspect in the Manhattan terrorist attack is being held without bail today and being charged with federal terrorism offenses. 8 were killed and another 12 were injured in Tuesday's attack, making it the deadliest terrorist attack in the Big Apple since 9/11. The suspect, Sayfullo Saipov, drove a truck through a bike lane just blocks away from the World Trade Center. The suspect told investigators that he was inspired by Islamic State videos and had been planning the attack for almost a year. Investigators believe the suspect was persuaded to act out by ISIS propaganda on social media. The ISIS terror group has since called the suspect a soldier of the caliphate. Since 2014, there have been 15 vehicular-related terrorist attacks in the West, raising the question, what can citizens do to protect themselves from this threat?
And here to shed light on that question, Peter Sini, a Chapman professor who specializes in radical violence.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for being here. So they say that the driver began planning this attack almost a year in advance. Do you think there are steps that could have been taken to maybe prevent this?
Well, it's hard to say. A major part of these lone terror attack, the strategy of lone terror attacks, is that they are much more difficult for law enforcement to be able to prevent. When you have a group of folks that are planning a terror attack, there's much greater likelihood that the group can be infiltrated, that people can become aware that the planning is in the stages of being planned, the attacks in these stages of being planned. With one person, if they're able to keep things to themselves and not say anything or not do anything that raises any kind of red flags, so to speak, then it's very difficult to really do that. There are, in some cases, though, things what's called leakage, where a person will say or do things that do kind of raise alarm. And that's why it's so important for individuals, friends, family members, or acquaintances, coworkers, and so forth, if they become aware of something that they think is kind of alarming in some way or another, then obviously authorities want folks to report that. But again, it's difficult. It's 2020 is always hindsight. So these are very difficult incidents to prevent.
And with that being said, what could somebody do, like besides reporting the issue? And because these attacks happen in large public areas, is there anything else that citizens can do to protect themselves besides maybe reporting a suspicious person or activity?
Well, cities and states and federal authorities are obviously looking at ways to try and what's called target hardening. But it's very difficult when you're dealing with these kind of soft targets where it's very public, whether it's an outdoor concert like in Las Vegas, or in this case, a jogging, biking, pedestrian pathway. There are some things around the edges that can be done to try and make it less accessible. For instance, in this case, putting up some kinds of barriers where a vehicle would be difficult for a vehicle to kind of navigate that. So, there are obviously, and those will be things that the city of New York and other cities across the country will look at. But again, it is very difficult. I mean, there's a great deal of vulnerability when we're talking about these kind of public spaces.
And do you believe that the political rhetoric and the way that these attacks are talked about is actually propagating more attacks. I know you're writing a book about the rhetoric Trump uses. Could you speak to that a bit?
Sure, sure. One of the concerns with inflammatory political rhetoric is it sets a climate that may be conducive for folks to become more aggressive, more violent. And what we see research that's been done actually here in California at Cal State San Bernardino finds that during the campaign, when then candidate Trump was running for office, when he announced his plan to create a Muslim ban, for example, that you do see a spike in violence following that kind of biased, hate-motivated violence. And so it's pretty clear evidence that when you have major public figures that are engaged in certain kinds of rhetoric that's inflammatory, that sometimes that does create a kind of a facilitation effect for individual citizens to go out and commit acts of violence kind of in the name of that, of those ideas, basically.
And with that rhetoric, would you say that since President Donald Trump has been in office, that these attacks have been more domestic or coming from, outside, like people from different countries?
Well, fortunately, these types of incidents are relatively rare. If you look at over the last few years, certainly since 9/11, people, I think Americans, when they think about terrorism, they think about international terrorism and violent jihadi extremists. What you do find, though, is domestically, among different kinds of groups, whether white supremacists, neo-Nazis, anti-government militia groups, a tremendous amount of violence since 9/11 coming from those groups that just kind of gets overlooked or ignored in some ways. And then there's the problem of defining what's international versus domestic. So in the case of this most recent incident, the attack in New York, that individual had been here since 2010. His radicalization appears to have occurred since his time in coming to the U.S. Now, he seems to have been inspired by ISIS, but no, at this point, real clear linkages between. So do you call that domestic or do you call it international? Yeah. So it's more complicated than it might seem.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your insight. We really appreciate you being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more on weather, news, and sports.
Follow your dreams. Chapman University. History, philosophy, peace studies, languages. Study abroad and explore the world. Become a global citizen. The Wilkinson College at Chapman University. Invest your humanity. Lead.
Welcome back to Chapman News. There are new developments in the sexual assault scandal. Disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein may be in bigger trouble. The New York Police Department says it's conducting 3 separate investigations, the latest based on claims from an unidentified actress that he raped her in 2010. There are also new charges against actor Kevin Spacey from when he ran the Old Vic Theatre in London from 2004 to 2015. Former theater employees claim the theater knew about Spacey's behavior at the time. Earlier this week, Netflix announced it would stop production on the next season of the TV hit House of Cards, which stars Spacey and actor Robin Wright. And in the world of journalism, NPR's top news executive, Michael Orosky, was forced to resign after 2 examples of alleged sexual harassment were reported by the Washington Post. According to the Post, Orosky's harassed 2 job applicants when he was Washington bureau chief for the New York Times back in the 90s. NPR reported it was looking into a 3rd incident at NPR 2 years ago. So closer to home, on our own campus in fact, how do Chapman women feel? Do they feel they are safe? I looked into a new survey of Chapman students. The results are in from Chapman's Campus Climate Survey, an annual poll put out to college students across America to gain insight into sexual assault and general feelings of safety on college campuses. 97% of the 1,300 respondents said they felt safe at Chapman, a number our Senior Associate Dean of Students attributes to public safety and education efforts.
So we do have the blue emergency phones that you mentioned. We also do have the Safe Ride program, which students can call public safety and request a ride. You know, sometimes they'll live in the residence halls and maybe they're going over to the dance studio or something like that. At any time, back and forth so they don't have to walk alone.
But 18% of respondents reported experiencing at least one form of stalking or harassment since the beginning of last school year.
And he then said, I want to go back to your place. Can we go back to your place? Like, the cops are here. And then I immediately thought he was lying because it was just a way to get back to my place. And so I basically ran, took off, and I was like, I gotta go meet my friends, and lied.
In instances like these,
ran off
women's
and-
basketball coach and self-defense professor Carol Jew shares some wisdom on staying safe.
But your voice is the most important weapon you have on your body. Yell things like, I don't know this person. Just have that courage to do that, and then that will draw attention. Maybe people will help you.
The climate survey is sent out by email every April if you'd like to participate, and Coach Jew's self-defense course is offered every semester from 9 to 10 a.m.
The Chapman Walk Against Violence took place on Wednesday in the Atala Piazza. Students from all across campus teamed up with means of raising awareness to reduce sexual misconduct. The students walked down to the Orange Circle and back, but with a little bit of a twist.
The Walk Against Violence is an event put on by one of Chapman's many on-campus organizations. The walk is put on by CARES, an organization committed to raising awareness regarding rape and sexual assault. Dr. Danny Smith, a Chapman professor and rape crisis counselor, leads the organization with the help of students involved in Greek life and a wide variety of other campus organizations.
You don't have to wear high heels, but you can, because it's really not about the shoes you wear, Adam. It's about really speaking out and taking a public stand against violence towards women.
These events are on campus for you to kind of expose yourself to different opportunities and different kind of aspects that are going on in this world. This is a perfect way to kind of have a social movement to go with and be proud of.
Feeling the burn. Ladies, I don't know how you do this. How's everybody feeling?
Feeling great. Out here walking for a good cause.
Awesome. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. As unfortunate as it is, sexual misconduct on college campuses is a problem today nationwide. Organizations like CARES exist to stimulate dialogue regarding rape and sexual assault and to educate the Chapman community regarding ways to reduce the risk of becoming a victim.
Chapman's Walk Against Violence is coming to a close. We're down here in the Orange Circle, where the walk circulated and went back to Chapman University. We spread the word a lot about CARES and their movement and sexual harassment against women. We hope that you understand and take that message as well. I'm Adam Winton, Chapman News. Back to you.
Chapman Cares puts on a few other events throughout the year in addition to the walk, such as the Clothesline Project, Men of Integrity, Women of Action, and Take Back the Night. More information about the organization can be found on Chapman's website.
Chapman University has just received the largest federal grant in school history. Dr. Hilliard Kaplan of Chapman's Economic Science Institute was rewarded a 5-year, $3.7 million grant to pursue his research in Alzheimer's. This research is part of a larger project known as the Chumani Health and Life History Project, where Kaplan and his team have been studying an isolated Bolivian tribe. What makes the tribe so special is their hearts and arteries of Chumani people aged 2 to 3 decades slower than those of people in the United States. With this money, Kaplan and the research team will use state-of-the-art imaging technology to screen the Chumani people, which will be used to assess cognitive impairment and dementia in relation to physical activity.
And coming up after the break, I got your full report of the iPhone 10 launch here at the South Coast Plaza Apple Store. The doors have opened, people are shuffling in, and there are lots of happy customers. I'll have your full report up next.
And results on the World Series after this.
Stand by. Stand up.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Alana, do you think you're going to be getting the new iPhone X?
You know, I'm actually considering it. I'm still on the Android bandwagon, but it's starting to get really annoying never being able to borrow anyone else's charger.
Yeah, but you know, with the new iPhone, it has wireless charging, so you won't have to worry about that. And our producer, Robert Rosenfeld, actually waited all morning in line to check it out. So, down to Robert.
Brianna, Alana, I usually love to give you guys kind of a highlight reel of the biggest tech stories for the week, but this week in particular, there's only one really big tech story that matters, and is the one happening behind me right now. It is the launch of Apple's highly anticipated iPhone 10. And though it may seem relatively calm and quiet here this morning, oh boy, you haven't seen the line outside. In the wee hours of the morning, most people are just waking up and starting their Friday. But for many Apple fans here in Orange County, they never went to bed last night. Most of them spent their night here, outside the South Coast Plaza Mall in Costa Mesa, accompanied by coffee, friends, and many high-tech gadgets, waiting for the doors to open and for the iPhone 10 to officially go on sale. Just an hour before doors opened, the line of Apple superfans went almost around the corner, with each and every one of them willing to shell out $1,000 in order to be amongst the first to own Apple's most advanced iPhone ever. For that price tag, you're getting an iPhone that boasts an edge-to-edge bezel-less display, an improved dual camera system on the back, and of course, the most popular new feature among customers, Face ID.
I think that it's one of those features that as we kind of progress farther and farther, people will trust it more. I like Touch ID. I use it with like Apple Pay and stuff like that, and I think it kind of freaks me out to have it reading my face. But yeah, I guess I'll see what it looks like, how well it works, and kind of know what the process is behind it and where that information is going.
Though some earlier reviewers had some kind of mixed impressions of the new iPhone 10, here at South Coast Plaza, it was nothing but smiles. If you want to get your hands on an iPhone 10 today, you're going to have a little bit of a tricky time doing so. Apple stores like the one behind me and carrier stores are in very limited supply of this phone. You can try eBay and Craigslist and other third-party resellers, but your best bet is simply to order from Apple directly. Shipping estimates at this point are just about 3 to 4 weeks. So if you order today, you should be able to get your phone in time for the holiday rush. Reporting from the South Coast Plaza Apple Store here in Costa Mesa, I'm Robert Rosenfeld, Chapman News.
So now that we know what the tech climate looks like, what about the outside climate? John, I hope that mustache of yours is keeping you warm.
Hey, thanks so much, you two. You know, I don't think I'm the only one out there that's been enjoying the cool down in temperature. It finally feels like the fall and the clouds are starting to hang around a little more, and I even saw a little bit of rainfall early in the week. So currently it's 68 degrees in Orange, California, mostly cloudy. And you know, this picture is actually from my hometown of Placentia, California. I can only imagine that this water tower is going to be filling up all weekend. But hey, why would we restrict ourselves to Orange when we can check out the temps in the entire county? So it seems that this drop in temperature has been pretty consistent all across the coastal cities here and even the inland cities, looking at a little 68, 69, 67 action all across the way. But as we step back even further to our SoCal forecast, we can see that our coastal cities will still remain consistent, dancing around the 70s. And if you'd like a little bit warmer weather down in Palm Springs or up in Big Bear Lake, I suggest going up there because it looks like the temperatures will be deviating around 10 degrees in either direction. And as we step out for our 5-day outlook, things are very consistent throughout the weekend with just a little bit of clouds, highs of 68, 70, and there's even a slight chance of rain on Sunday morning. But don't fret, sun will be coming back coming Wednesday and things will finally begin to warm up a little bit. But if you're wondering what this lip carpet's doing on my face, it's because November kicks off Movember, an awareness month to bring attention to men's health. This flavor saver won't be going anywhere until December 1st, and I urge you all to look into the Movember Foundation. Well, that's about it for me. I'm going to go stand outside in the rain and continue my various rain dances. Rain, rain, go away, more like rain, rain, come my way. And we'll toss it over to Hope with sports.
Doesn't seem like it. Now it's on? Seems fine.
Don't stand by, stand up.
I apologize, the tonsil fairy came and took it for a second. Welcome to the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm Michael Hoefling. Yes, I missed you too. It's good to be back. Hey, don't say those things about Tim. He tried his best. At least his mic didn't go out, but it's tough to replace somebody like me. Maybe when I'm gone, Tim. Speaking of things that are gone, the Dodgers World Series hopes went down the gutter after losing Game 7 to the Houston Astros. Now, I must give a warning to all Dodgers fans. The upcoming images are rather unpleasant to the eye. I still can't believe they lost. The night didn't start the way they wanted. First batter of the game, George Springer, laces one down the left field line. That's the reason why he was the World Series MVP. He hit 4 home runs coming into this game and might have another one by the end if you haven't seen this game. I mean, who knows? George Springer with a leadoff double. Things would not get easier for Darvish. Here's a ground ball to the first baseman, Bellinger. Maybe should have let Forsythe get it, but it was away from Darvish, and that allows Springer to score. That's the first run of the game. And then the very next batter, Bregman moves up to third, and Altuve grounds out to Bellinger. Thought about going home, but willing to take the out there. That's going to put him up by 2 in the top of the first. Then in the top of the second, George Springer, there's his home run. Springer with the dinger, his 5th of the World Series. That is why he is the MVP. Absolutely tore it up. The Dodgers would eventually plate 1, but then Corey Seager grounds out into the shift to Jose Altuve. That ends the World Series. The Astros win the first of their entire franchise. The Dodgers can't get it. How? How did that happen? You had it all, Dodgers. Best pitcher on the planet, the best closer, the cash, the vets, the up-and-comers, and you blew it. Calm down. Their season wasn't a total failure. They finally got Clayton Kershaw to a World Series. Yeah, and the Dodgers get a full season of Cody Bellinger next year. You know, sometimes it's best to look on the bright side of things and take a look back at the good times that the season brought some of us.
Puig sends a high drive to right center field. Charlie Blackmon's back on it at the wall. It's gone. Number 28 of the season for Puig ties the game at 3. And Utley delivers a base hit into center field. Here comes Turner to score. On his way to third is Bellinger. There goes. Deep to right field. Cody Bellinger, number 36. That was an absolute blast off the bat of Cody. Go here it comes. Grandal hits a high fly ball down the right field line. It is gone. No, they say. Hard hit by first. There it is. Into the corner. Hit number 2,000 of Adrian Gonzalez's career is a double. The tables in 2017. Line shot, and it is caught, and the ball game is over, and the Los Angeles Dodgers have won the pennant. The Dodgers are headed to the World Series for the first time in 20 years.
Wasn't that nice? It's always good to stroll down memory lane. Okay, although the Dodgers season may be over, that doesn't mean it's the end of any of our teams on campus. In fact, the playoffs are just about to start for the Chapman football team. It all came down to Saturday. A win against the second-seeded Cal Lutheran Kingsmen would secure Chapman a SCIAC championship and a spot in the NCAA playoffs. However, Cal Lutheran would not push over. They had a better overall record than Chapman coming into the game, and if not for a 1-point loss to Laverne earlier on this season, would have been tied with Chapman for the top seed in conference. It was 1 versus 2, and the winner would go to the playoffs. Things did not start well for our Panthers. Ricky Batista, you don't see this very often. The interception And a poor tackle there by Batista. He gets pushed out at the 3 and sets up this run by the running back for Cal Lutheran, Beeson. He scores and puts up the first points of the game. An early 7-0 lead on the first possession. But on the second possession for Chapman, a swing pass out to Nico Ragas. He gets it at the goal line. Does he get in? He does. It counts for 6. That's all that matters. And then from that point on, Chapman's offense would take it away. Joe Muti running down the sideline, takes it 69 yards to the house, longest run of his career, and just like a man who didn't cry during up, he was untouched. That's difficult to do. And then at the very end of the first half, Ricky Batista find the wide open Mark Pachorik in the seam. That put them up. Cal Lutheran would go on to score later in the first half. It was tough, but Chapman was up by 2 at the end of the first. Then in the second half, the typical suspects, Joe Muti, the wheel route, nobody in front of him, his second touchdown of the game. And then, of course, Jacob Isabel on the out route in the corner, right past the pylon, his first of 2 touchdowns. Chapman goes on to win the SCIAC championship for the first time since 2014, 46-38. Now, it's not all peaches and cream yet. I was talking with Ricky this week, and he told me that due to some insanely bogus seating rules in the SCIAC, a loss to Saturday to Claremont Mud Scripps and a Redlands win means Chapman will have to share the SCIAC trophy. And if there's one thing my younger brother taught me, it's that nobody wants to share their shiny new toys with anyone else. Ricky Batista threw 6 touchdown passes in that game. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, that sounds like a lot, you're right and you're wrong. It ties the Chapman record for most touchdown passes in a single game, but for Ricky, it simply ties his own personal record. That historic performance was enough to earn Batista his second Athlete of the Week honors in 3 weeks. A feat so rare it had been deemed myth alongside Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. However, Batista really earned it last game and once again is our featured star on this week's Athlete of the Week.
Thanks, Michael. I'm here with Ricky Bautista, Athlete of the Week for the second time in 3 weeks. We're here to do a rematch from last time, and we actually have some pumpkins that have been sentenced to death because of their crimes against gourds. So Ricky, explain this game to our viewers at home a little bit.
So we get 10 throws each. If you hit it, you get 1 point. If you hit it and you smash it, you get 2 points.
All right, let's get to it.
There we go. I mean, 7 times hit 1 pumpkin, come on.
One of the main goals for all the seniors was SCIAC championship. You guys have now won a SCIAC championship. What's the new goal moving forward?
The new goal is obviously national championship, but you know, same thing as always. We just gotta take 1 game at a time, and you know, each week continue to get better and better.
Set. I'm a better quarterback than Ricky. Set, Hut. Oh.
That was 1 out of 10.
Ooh!
Dude, that was
Oh, he knocked it off.
Through 6 touchdowns against Cal Lutheran. What did you see in the defense that really allowed you to do that?
You know, you just find open guys. There was a couple plays where, actually there was 1 play where I threw it to Mark short, and they all, you know, we used Jacob Isabel as a decoy, and the whole defense just went to him. 3 guys went to him, and then Mark was open up in the middle of the field. And then there was another play, we had a trick play with Ben Bruce. He was acted as he was a tackle, but he was really eligible. And he just released up the seam, and you know, the defense didn't even see him.
I mean, that's already more points than Tim has.
What's the game against Claremont Scripps looking like?
Last year, it was a struggle. You know, they beat us. I don't think we were really prepared. It looks good. You know, we just gotta watch film on them, learn from last year, learn on the mistakes, and just clean it up, and I think we'll do just fine.
Oh, he got it, but still nothing. So we really wanted him to explode one, so we're gonna move him a little bit closer now.
Easy as pumpkin pie. my gosh! Hey. You know, I thought it was gonna be like an explosion, but
yeah,
worked out good. Pumpkin deserved to die.
So the athletes still undefeated after today. I didn't really have much of a chance this time. I'm not too accurate throwing the football, as everybody knows now. Thanks for playing, Ricky. You did a great job. We'll see you next time on Athlete of the Week.
Man, seeing that pumpkin explode on impact was satisfying. What you didn't see, though, were the 30 attempts we had to do beforehand just to make sure that it was cracked enough. That pumpkin was not having it that day. It was tough. I'm talking just got out of a 15-year prison sentence tough. That was not as easy as pumpkin pie. Not even close. The Panthers football team will look to continue their domination this weekend against Claremont Mudd Scripps, but they're not the only team that's going to be in action on campus coming up. The men's water polo team will be the first team to play on Saturday when they go head-to-head against perennial powerhouse Whittier. Then, as I said, the football game against Claremont Mudd Scripps, that will be broadcast live on the Chapman Sports Broadcast Network. And then you'll have to wait a while to see any other more Panthers in play. The men's basketball team starts their season off against San Diego Christian, and the men's water polo team will look to fend off Caltech. Well, that's it for me in sports. What else is there to talk about? Thor Ragnarok it came out today. Pretty excited. I'm more of a DC guy myself. I'm waiting for Justice League. Back to you, Brianna and Alana.
Coming up, actor Charlie Heaton's personal life is proving to be anything but ordinary.
And Chapman students got an exclusive look at Pixar's latest movie and an exclusive interview with its director. Coming up.
Being remembered.
Follow your dreams. Chapman University, a diverse, well-rounded education. Art, dance, music, theater. Empower your future. The performing arts at Chapman University. Create.
Requested it. Yeah.
The day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
There's been a lot going on in the entertainment world. Brenny, can you tell us what's happening in Hollywood?
Thanks, Alana. Last week we showed you how celebrities got spooky for Halloween, but this week our reporter Jessica Metter is showing us how the scariest thing on Chapman's campus was the lack of Halloween spirit.
This week, I went on campus expecting to find students dressed up in their favorite costumes, but to my surprise, it looked just like a regular Tuesday, unless everyone was dressed as a sleep-deprived college student. Luckily, I was able to find some students with the Halloween spirit.
Because it's Halloween. Like, you get to be whatever you want, and also my class had a costume contest, and I unfortunately lost, but like, yeah.
Honestly, I kind of felt awkward, and I was a little disappointed because it's Halloween, like, get in the spirit, like, it's our one day to dress up, have some fun. I think it's important to take that opportunity and dress up.
Yeah, any final words? Others offered their opposing arguments for why they chose not to dress up for the holiday.
I think Halloween's too hyped up and all the parties get rolled.
I think I'm just not big on spending money on a costume when I could, get Thai food.
I'm ready for Christmas.
Ultimately, students can agree that not dressing up for Halloween doesn't necessarily make you a Halloweenie.
It's up to whoever, it's your decision if you want to come dressed up or not, but it's nice to see people in the spirit.
It's me a little sad, but at the same time, I contributed to that, so.
All right, well, I hope you guys had a safe and spooky Halloween. Reporting live from the Atala Piazza, I'm Jessica Metter for Chapman News.
I have to say, I was pretty surprised by Chapman's lack of Halloween spirit. But I was even more surprised to hear about the Jelena romance rumors. Justin seems to be keeping an eye out for Selena now that she's back out on the market. Brianna Greenup has the details.
After 10 months, Selena Gomez and The Weeknd have split. Distance seems to have gotten the best of their relationship, and according to TMZ, The Weeknd was the one who called it quits. The Weeknd even took to social media, and although he didn't unfollow Selena herself, he has unfollowed members of her friends and family. To make matters more interesting, Selena and ex-boyfriend Justin Bieber have been seen together for the past couple of weekends. The reunion appears to be innocent, but since news of the breakup has raised some questions. Bieber and Gomez were last seen Wednesday night at his hockey game, and Gomez was then seen leaving while wearing his jersey. As of now, this rekindled relationship is not responsible for The Weeknd and Selena's split.
Selena isn't the only one proving the heart wants what it wants. It looks like there are some other celebs who are hoping to be more than friends. There could be a new famous fling on the horizon, and it's a little random. Modern Family star Sarah Hyland surprised fans this Halloween by dressing in a couple costume with The Bachelorette's Wells Adams. The two nailed an adorable gender flip of Stranger Things characters Dustin and Eleven. This cute couple alert was quite a surprise considering Hyland had just broken things off with her longtime boyfriend, actor Dominic Sherwood, back in August. Adams may be known for his steamy smooch with castmate Danielle Maltby on Bachelor in Paradise, but he's been hinting at a new lady in his life on a recent podcast with Brandi Cyrus. Fans believe the mystery woman could definitely be Hyland, so while the duo may be considered an unlikely pair, stranger things have happened, as Hyland cleverly captioned this Instagram photo. Charlie Heaton's personal life is proving to be anything but ordinary. But one cast member was notably absent from the red carpet premiere. British actor Charlie Heaton, who plays concerned brother Jonathan Byers, was denied entry into the United States last Saturday when TSA officials discovered he was in possession of cocaine. Sources say Heaton was not arrested, but he was held at LAX until he got on a plane back to London that night. The Heaton drama continues to escalate when just a few days later, it was revealed the 23-year-old actor is a father. Sources say Heaton has a 3-year-old love child with his ex-girlfriend and former bandmate, Akiko Matsura. The actor has not commented publicly on why he has kept his young son a secret or about his cocaine possession. Charlie Heaton may not be doing too hot, but maybe things will be better for his character Jonathan on the new season. On a more positive note, if you're looking for something to do in LA this weekend, go check out the newest addition to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a star for music icon Selena Quintanilla. I'm actually about to go check it out right now, so I'm going to toss it back over to the desk. In other entertainment news a little closer to campus, Chapman students got an exclusive look at the newest Pixar movie, Coco. Reporter Sabrina Santoro has the story.
Chapman students got a sneak peek of Disney Pixar's latest movie, Coco, at the pre-release screening on campus November 2nd. Set to be released this Thanksgiving, Coco celebrates family and the art of being remembered, inviting moviegoers to an unforgettable family reunion. I sat down with director Lee Unkrich before the screening to find out more about how he brought the Land of the Dead to life.
I first came up with this idea about 6 years ago, and the initial thought was to tell a story set against Dia de Muertos.
Coco introduces Miguel, an aspiring musician with dreams of following in the footsteps of his idol. But there's one problem holding him back from facing his dreams. Miguel's family has a generations-old ban on music. The story follows Miguel as he decides whether to respect his family or pursue his dreams. Miguel also faces a magical mishap that lands him in the Land of the Dead along the way.
Once you take the time to learn about Dia de Muertos and what it's all about, a lot of people think it's about death, or they think it's like a Mexican Halloween, but it's actually a tradition that's all about family. It's about the importance of family and the importance of remembering your loved ones and passing along their stories and making sure that they're never forgotten.
Although this is Pixar's 19th film, it's the first to feature multiple characters of color in prominent roles. The all-Latino voice cast includes characters set in Mexico in two distinct but parallel worlds, the land of the living and the land of the dead.
We did an enormous amount of research. We went down to Mexico many times. We worked with quite a few cultural consultants, people from all different walks of life in the Latino community to guide us and make sure that we were telling a story that was authentic and respectful.
I think that they genuinely hit the real authenticity of the holiday, and I think that the director did a great job with that.
I mean, ultimately, the movie is about family, and I think that you don't need to be a member of a culture to appreciate a film that's about someone else's culture. At the end of the day, we're having you fall in love with characters and follow them on their journeys and what they're going through, and hopefully feeling empathy for them. And so I think people all over the world will relate to Miguel and the rest of the characters in Coco, but also think about their own families.
I was expecting something that was a labor of love, but I didn't expect something that amazing.
Yes, it was so good. Well, it looks like viewers are going loco for Coco, so be sure to catch the movie when it's officially released nationwide November 22nd. Reporting from the Foligno Theater, this is Sabrina Santoro for Chapman News.
Coco was released in Mexico on November 27th in time for Day of the Dead celebrations. And if you missed the pre-release screening here at Chapman, it'll be playing at a theater near you starting this Thanksgiving. That's all we have for today. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and check out our website at chapmannews.tv. I'm Alana Williams.
And I'm Brianna Greenup. See you next time on Chapman News.